Good morning. I'm Spencer Brown, and this is Module 5 for AEP 858. I wanted to start off by pulling in a tweet that I saw on Jim Knight's page. It's a quote from him that was tweeted by somebody else, and he retweeted it. But I just thought it was a really great tweet to set the stage kind of for this task, and really to kind of hold our moral compass as educators. And the idea is that what we are pursuing is an enormous challenge, right? We're pursuing excellence and deeper understanding of our purpose, fuller knowledge of these are really heavy statements. But at the end, that is the satisfaction that comes when we are willing to put in that work to really change trajectories for children in terms of their education. So I also wanted to provide a disclaimer because I do not work in a school district. And so I am using my hometown school with public information that I was able to find or that I've acquired as I've followed board meetings and minutes. But I'm not going to pretend that I know everything about McPherson School District. I'm far from that. And so I'm purely just an outsider looking in, and most of what you're going to see is just factual numbers, and I'm going to try not to make assumptions because I really don't have enough information to know what's potentially some issues and what are not. That being said, we'll start out with just who are we. So the district is about 80% white, but we do see the next highest minority would be 12, almost 13% Hispanic, a little bit of African American, and then also some other. In terms of economically disadvantaged, I brought this up in the module 3, but I looked at economic disadvantage, and we are not too far away from the state average. The district does have fewer percentage-wise economically disadvantaged students than the rest of the state. But students with disabilities, actually, the percentage is a little higher than the rest of the state. So 19, almost 20% students with disabilities, while the state average comes in closer to 15%. The other piece I wanted to bring in terms of the community is the community takes a lot of pride in itself. And so a while back, there was USA Today put out an article that was the 50 best cities to live in the United States. And McPherson came in 24th. And so you'll see a few stats there that they chose to wait to decide, what makes a city a good home or a good place to call home. And so you see that McPherson has a lot of things going on. We take a lot of pride in the community here. I've only lived here 3 or 4 years, but the pride in the community is very evident. And my wife grew up here, and she has a lot of pride for the town. So how we do business, I pulled this off of McPherson's website, and I thought that it was really a good place to set the stage in terms of how they aim to do business. And the aim is committed to student success. And so whatever decisions are being made, it would be my understanding just from the webpage that the aim is about student success, and that's the first order of business. Other ways that I've, from the outside looking in, seen ways that business is being done is, one, they did a curriculum audit where they paid Denise Seguin to come in and just look through and say, okay, how aligned and sufficient is the curriculum that we have here. I don't know if sufficient is the right term, but they really just wanted to take a deep dive into what is going on in our schools. What are those school processes that are occurring? The other piece that I thought was important to note in terms of how we do business would be that it is a redesign district, meaning that there's 2 schools in the district that were a part of I believe the first group going through redesign. So they've been looking at innovative ways to approach complicated issues with their students to try to better achieve success. Where are we now? So this is where I really want to have that disclaimer, because this is purely just me looking at public data, and it's no means to make implications about the district, but really just there would be obviously a lot more data and questions you'd want to dive into. But for Module 3, I dove into state assessment data, and we saw that the trend data in terms of movement out of level 4 and movement into level 1, that trend was lower than the state in terms of math. The raw numbers of levels 1 right now are higher in ELA and math and lower in level 4. And so state assessment scores aren't obviously what the district would probably want. Post-secondary, however, post-secondary success is higher than the state average and is trending upward. And so when I think back to that idea of committed to student success, they certainly can hang their hats on some data there. The other place of establishing where are we now, this is just a kind of a plug that the district clearly takes this serious, that they would bring in a systemic review of curriculum and instruction. They would come in and do this curriculum audit through Denise Seguin to really find out what is it that our children are getting, and are we okay with that, or where do we need to make some improvements? I know one recommendation that came out of this report was bringing alignment to the district. And so how do we make sure we're all on the same page and we're all providing that same quality instruction and curriculum to the third graders in this school and the third graders in this school, or the ELA room here and the math room here? How are we all making sure that we are providing those universal appropriate supports and aligning that curriculum appropriately? So why do we exist? I pulled this off the mission statement because I felt like their mission statement really outlined these last two questions. And when you say, okay, why do we exist? You see that clearly they say the purpose of USD 418 is to ensure students will acquire basic academic and decision-making skills to be productive, responsible citizens in a changing society. And this, it looks like it was adopted in 1989. And so this was adopted a while ago, but yet that clause is certainly as important now as it would have been then. But this idea that the society is changing, ensure that the kids coming out of this district have the necessary skills to be productive, responsible citizens in whatever changing society exists. The way that they plan to take this, and so I used this part to answer the question, where do they want to be? It looks pretty simple. They said, well, we want to see students leaving with competencies in reading, math, listening, and speaking, demonstrating basic math skills, everything down to the third to the bottom. I really like cooperating with others, showing compassion and tolerance for individual differences. So they have a lot of really great bullet points of just saying, like, this is what we want to see. This is where we want to be with our students. And so I just felt like that was a really good way to kind of wrap up where McPherson's at. And again, disclaimer, I don't work for the district, so if I'm off base on anything, I certainly do not intend to be. And so I appreciated that their website and board documents were easily accessible so that as a community member, I could record something like this. So thanks for listening.